Okay, so the book's starting to get good again. This chapter covers the dramatic events leading up to the death of Doc Noss. And wow, what a wild night in Hot Springs, New Mexico. Holy cow. So this is a book I was interested in because in Justin Posey's book, Beyond the Map's Edge, Justin remembers hearing that his great-uncle Alton Posey helped Doc Noss hide the gold on the eve of his murder. I read this chapter very, very carefully, looking for any mention of Alton Posey, but it was not mentioned at all. But, that doesn't mean it didn't happen. It just wasn't mentioned in this book. So let's backtrack. It's important to remember that Doc Noss once had pretty good access to the treasure cave in Victoria Peak. It was not easy access because there was a big boulder that was lodged in the fissure of the rock, and it made the descent and the ascent from the cave very difficult. But nonetheless, Doc was able to bring up hundreds and hundreds of gold bars over the years, and he buried multiple caches of gold bars in the Hembreo Basin. After a few years, he grew tired of fighting that boulder in the fissure. He just got tired of going around it, so he hired an alleged mining engineer to blast through the boulder that was impeding him. And honestly, he should have left well alone because it caved in the mine, totally destroying all access. So they were no longer to access the treasure rooms in Victoria Peak. This was devastating for them, and they spent years and years trying to dig out that cave-in, but they were never able to do it. After that, they kind of gave up on that. Doc permitted some other mines in the area, and I put the coordinates of those other mines he permitted on my Patreon page just for fun. But ultimately, he gave up on Victoria Peak, and worst of all, he gave up on Ova. He moved away and married another woman. Ova was struggling to make ends meet, selling insurance door to door, and she went to this man's door to sell him a policy. And get this, he said, well, I'm going to jump Doc Noss's claim tomorrow, so maybe I should get some insurance. He obviously didn't know that she was Ova Noss, and so she sold him the expensive plan, and then she hightailed it to Santa Fe to renew Doc's permit before that guy did. How one forgets to permit a claim potentially worth billions and billions of dollars, I will never know. And you know what else? She hired Merle Hosman. Come on, girl, come on. Anyway, while Ova was rebuilding access to Victoria Peak, grading the road, and managing things on her own, Doc was forming a sketchy partnership with a man named Charles Ryan. And the plan was that him and Ryan were going to fly the 110 gold bars he had stashed in the Hembreo Basin to Old Mexico. And when Doc returned and saw how well Ova was handling things, he sat under a tree with her and he said, I see you jumped my claim, Ova, and ended up with my treasure. And you know what she said? It was so sweet. She said, Doc, what are you talking about? I found out by accident the permit was about to expire. I just refiled on the claim. You still have your percentage. You still got it. And that's when Doc got his renewed spark for Ova and for Victoria Peak. He began having second thoughts about his partnership with Ryan, especially since Ova had paved a literal path back to the treasure. Did I mention it was a crazy, crazy night in Hot Springs, New Mexico? On the eve of Doc's murder, a tragic plane crashed near Victoria Peak involving two men who were scouting the rumored alternate entrance into the cave. One died and one was critically injured. As tragic as this was, it created a perfect distraction for Doc to secretly relocate the 110 bars of gold before Charlie Ryan's plane landed in the morning. Let's go to part 2.